Good evening, everybody, and welcome back again for the continuing 24 hours of F1. And this is race 9. It's Spain, and we're going to go straight into some qualifying here with Vapor Email, because that's who the game's popped us on board with. We're going to chuck it into turn 1. Fiddly little track. There's lots of long radius corners, and we're going to... I've not even said who I am. I'm Killer Blue 295. I'm joined by Ariel Nolan. Here we are at the end of Sector 1. We're going to go into Turn 4 now. Vapor Email is in P7, representing Vapor. We've got Shizuka Zizzle in first place right now. He's representing hashtag Humble Squad, closely followed by Justas and Campbell for Relentless and QVR. We'll go through the full lineup in a moment, but this is a tricky little section there. Uphill complex, 7 and 8, easy for the car to kick out underneath you. And, he's gone a little bit wide there. We'll have a look. I think that may just be an invalidation, and it is plummets him to the bottom, but we've got Kazizel on top heading through Sector 3. Really fiddly little section, lots of slow corners, slow, quick changes of direction. And Kazizel does seem to be just on top here, going through the last few corners. Now this awful little chicane, which drivers lobby every year to get removed. Bumps the curb and he runs wide. Does that invalidate him? No, he just about holds on, and he had enough time in his pocket to take pole position. Kazizel with a 15.7 500s. Oh, Campbell nicked it on the line. So that is very close. 500s of a second between Campbell, Kazizel and Justas. And I'm going to stop talking and hand over to my assistant for this race.
Assistant?
My assistant, my companion.
What he means to say is the fastest rising commentator in LOE esports, Ariel Nolan.
A man briefly followed by George Morgan on Twitter and then promptly unfollowed. But we'll go through the full grid. QVR Campbell for QVR is on pole. Kazizel second, Justas third, Xander is fourth, Lewis fifth, Tom Robbo sixth, XL Dillon is seventh. Tom Robbo, that time on the mediums at 16.3, very impressive there. Speed Knighton is eighth, Tim Wentick is ninth, Khalifa 10th, Sossi 11th, Raleigh 12th, Arthur 13th, Gravity 14th, Noise 15th, ML 16th, Kelvin 17th, Esports Wales Mason is 18th, and Will G is in 19th place. Gareth Hall, sadly, not able to join the lobby for some reason. But we've got a grid of 19, and I will run through the full lineup for this race. So Dylan is representing XL, Khalifa for Elite Racing Team, Justas for Relentless, Mason for Esports Wales, Tom Robbo for IFR, Gareth Hall, who can't be here for whatever reason his would-be representing team has been, so they'll score 0 for this race. Wentick for Barracarel's Humble Squad is represented by Kazizel, Sossi for Contest of Speed, Noisy for VOR, Campbell for QVR, Lewis for Bottle Job Racing, Will for the Absolute Units, Kelvin for O Olympico, Gravity for Tic Tac & Co, Amel for Vapor, Xander for Sjeepvingers, Raleigh for Nordic E-Racing, Arthur for Neverlast Racing, and Speed Knighton for Team Speed Esports. And it's the Absolute Units who lead from Relentless and ERT, and then Bottle Job Racing and QVR as our top 5 going. There's a big chance here, isn't there, Jack, with QVR on pole position to really try and knock on the door of that top 2. They're only 25 points behind Relentless in second.
Yeah, I personally don't see them catching Relentless. I think Relentless overall have a better team, better overall grid than them, I would say. Not
no bias
at
all.
From the outside.
No.
Looking from the outside, I just think, looking at the grids, that QVR team really is lacking in skill in any department. So I think we have a passe, you know. So I reckon overall they'll struggle. But Lewis Campbell, I think he's managed to bag one result today already. I think earlier on in the week, earlier on in the night, he got a really good result. So on pole, I didn't expect that. Genuinely biased aside, I did honestly think, looking at this grid, that Justas was probably the strongest person in here from what I've seen. But I've not seen much of Kazizel. I'm just in my own little box in the LOE side of F1. So I think Lewis, Kazizel, and Justas, they seemed quite ahead of the rest of the group. So it would be quite interesting to see. The 2-stop here is going to make it very fun, because normally with this you see the same strategy. People struggle on tyre wear. It's like a little window as to when you can pit. So I think the 2-stop at Spain is going to make it a bit more of an exciting race, we'd hope, as Spain tends to be a bit of a bore fest.
I wouldn't say so. Not in league racing. Maybe in real life. We'll have a quick look at the tyres. We've got a fair split. So outside the top 10, we've got Sossi on soft, appropriately. Arthur on soft, Mason on soft, everyone else on mediums, and then of course there's Tom Robbo, who qualified in 6th place on the mediums, much like yourself at Austria a couple of races ago, with a very good qualifying there. But it's going to be Campbell and Kazizel who lead them away. So, as you said, 2-stop, of course, mandatory at every event. It's a case of whether we'll see how that goes down. But I think, if I was to give a prediction, not knowing a tremendous amount of these drivers, but I would say Campbell is in a really, really strong position here to nail this one. But we've got all 19 cars coming into position now. As you can see, predicted 2-stop strategies. No one will be going near the hard, so please do ignore that. We're going to be on board with QVR Campbell, with Kazizel just alongside him on the front row. Here we go then. So we've got 3, 4, 5 lights. Campbell on your right, Kazizel on your left. We're underway in Spain for round 9 of the 24-hour event, and it's even Stevens away at the start. In fact, Justas has got a slightly better start, I think, than Kazizel. He's got a clean run around the outside of turn 1. Kazizel nearly boxed in there by Campbell, and Justas is going to steam round the outside, nearly tapping Kazizel round, but he's safely through the Relentless Man into 2nd place. It's Kazizel down to 3rd, Lewis is 4th, Xander's 5th. There's cars tangling at the background. We've got Vapor NL, Vapor having a shocker again on the opening lap here. We've got Tom Robbo tapping the back of Xander there through turn 4. Dylan's keeping a watching brief on these guys. We've got a Mercedes round. That's Speed Knight and into the wall. He's not retiring, but I think that will be damage. And Khalifa's had a bit of a poor start as well. He's down a couple of places there.
Yeah, it's been quite a hectic start, actually. A few position changes. We've got TF10, is it Will G? He's getting 7 positions now on his first lap. He's just sent it up to the top of the track. I think Lewis Campbell will be very happy with that. He's tends to run quite high wings. He tends to run quite high wings on races most of the time. So I think he could probably benefit from that on this track. I don't know how he'll do on the straight. He's not like you running 1-1 wings at every single track like a psychopath. But overall, quite a healthy start for most of the drivers. I think there's a few people that might be disappointed, mainly Speed Knighton, but overall it's been very good to see.
Vapor Emil as well, got a couple of spinners at the back on this first lap, but Campbell leads away safely by 6/10 of a second from Justas and Kazizel. Well, I think you're right. I think we're going to see those 3 very much in a league of their own this race, breaking away. We've got Sossi and Ventic going at it into turn 1. Sossi has to back out of that one. Ventic through up into P8. And I think the field's already spread out quite a bit on this opening lap. We've got Gravity is leading a little train that's broken away from the midfield. He's down in 13th at the moment. But quite a clean opening lap, you have to say, apart from those couple of drivers that drop down to the back there.
Yeah, I think later on we're going to see a little bit change. These front 3 now, I'd like to see what strategies they're going to go for. If they're all going to go for the same with the 2 stops, if people are going to slap on the mediums in the middle. I think we've seen over most races that soft, medium, soft has been the go-to. So it'd be interesting to see people switch that up. I know I'd like to see someone whip out the hards. It's an absolutely terrible strategy, but at Spain, I've been told by Car Mentalist, this is breaking news information, that the hards are the best tyre at Spain.
I'm not too sure whether I believe you there. I'd be disinclined to believe the hards were the best tyre at any track in this game, and the front 3 already trading fastest laps, a 19.2 for Justas there, just pipping Campbell by a few hundredths of a second as they cross the line to start lap 3. And I feel I may have spoken too soon on the formation lap. You said this has the potential to be a bit of a ball fest, and it is stringing out pretty nicely. I think they're in more or less pace order, aren't they? We're not seeing too many close battles. We've got Khalifa on the soft tyres, though, very close to the back of Raleigh JT. I think that is our closest battle on track right now. And the Khalifa is on the softs. He needs to try and get through this medium pack as quickly as he can, particularly with ERT being in the position they're in. They're going to want to get as many points as they can. They can't afford to let QVR Absolute Units, Relentless, kind of get any kind of advantage on them. Further back, though, we're going to see Arthur is under pressure from Gravity. And we've got a spinner, that's Tim Wentic, and he's lost his front wing.
Oh dear, so McLaren, I bricked it for a second then.
Well, no bias up here in the commentary box. Any comments made by Ariel Nolan?
I really like the McLaren.
Do not represent the views of either myself or the admins or the event. But it is starting to string out even more up front, isn't it? Campbell 8/10 of a second, close to breaking that DRS, but it's in effect now for Justas. And Justas has an ERS advantage. Dillon's into the pits. Nice and early racy strategy from the XL man there. We'll see what tyres he goes on to. Presumably the mediums for a longer middle stint. Try and get out of some of this traffic. But the top three really are breaking away. 1.4 seconds the gap now back to Zander, who's fallen, or rather Lewis has fallen behind him, the two Alpines. And Lewis getting very wide there on the exit of turn 4. And yeah, Dillon, Ventic in through, well, forcibly in for Ventic, but both onto the mediums for that longer middle stint. And we are seeing the field really break it up now. Sossi effectively all by himself already, 2.5 seconds behind Tom Rollo, a second ahead of Raleigh JT, who is still just about hanging in DRS to keep Khalifa behind him.
Yeah, we're seeing the front three now almost breaking that DRS gap to the rest of the field. Zander's just about holding on. He's not burning too much to stay there, though. He's around about on the same. Justas on 75% there, 78, sorry, and then we've got...
Oh, sorry, we've got Noisy going deep at turn 10 on Gravity, and that was ill-advised from the get-go. Gravity sneaking straight back through there. Sorry, as you were, Jack.
Oh, he's been watching some Packer tapes, hasn't he, clearly? Yeah, I was just thinking, the gaps at the front, we thought the front three would just drive off. It doesn't seem to have happened that way. The DRS has come into effect, and it's going to start bringing people together. As Justas, look how much time he's getting just in the straight. He's just gained about, I think, 6/10 was that, just going down that straight then? I think we could see some mad dives going into turn 1 and maybe at the top of sector 2 as well, as Khalifa gets past Relay to get up into P8.
I had J-Cole levels of direction then. Tom Rollo snuck ahead of Lewis, and then further back we saw Khalifa sneak ahead of Raleigh. And I think Will G is going to try the same thing here into turn 4. Raleigh properly putting the squeeze on, just about stays ahead of the Ferrari man, but you can't see this staying too close this way for long. And he's going to send it into turn 5, is he? Raleigh leaves him the space, he gives just enough. And it's going to be an Urs race towards turn 7, a tricky little corner uphill. And, well, Raleigh backs out of that one, and he needed to, because I don't think they would have survived, either of them, if they'd tried going into that one side by side. Gravity and Noisy side by side through turn 9 there. Gravity right up against the curb, nearly forced into the gravel, but he avoids some contact. And I have to say, I do wince every time I see cars going side by side anywhere near that through 7, 8, and 9. Did you think with this...
I'm happy. Oh, go on.
So, did you think with this being a two-stop, we'd see some people coming in earlier? And I've spoken prophetically there, because we've got Justas, Kazizel, and Lewis in. And is that going to be a bit of a problem for QVR Campbell? We had a spinner at the back there as well, I noticed. One of the Red Bulls, that was Esports Wales Mason, had a bit of a moment.
Yeah, that's what I was saying to you before about the double stop at Spain. Possibly just making it a bit more exciting, because we do tend to see the softs, they overheat pretty fast here. They lose performance pretty quick, and you kind of have to drag them out to make it work. This time they can just box as soon as they're starting to feel a little bit of pace go in them. So it'd be interesting to see how long these drivers hold on to the softs. I don't think it'll be for too much longer. As what's happened down there? Is that Mason coming? He had a spin at the back there. But we'll see from drivers like Dillon, who have pitted early onto the mediums, whether it will benefit overall, because I don't know how long the performance lasts in the mediums.
Well, it's brought him into play, because Lewis was in P5 behind Zander very briefly before he was passed by Tom Robbo. But Dillon is now only within DRS range on Lewis, so it's brought him into play with that Tom Robbo, Zander, Lewis little train. So Dillon's very much in this for a P4, you have to say. But it's a case of if those tyres go off, Campbell's into the pits, but is that a lap too late for him? We'll have a look, and Sossi's got a penalty. That's the first 3-second penalty of the race. Tom Robbo, qualified 6th, of course, now leading the race on those mediums. He's got free air to just attack, and see what he can do. But where is Campbell going to come out in relation to Justas and Kazizel? This is what we want to know, and we're going to go on board with Justas down the straight here. How close is it going to be? It's going to be very close, but I think Campbell has just about got this one held onto. That lap was enough, but look how much Justas has come into play. And if Campbell's tyres are going to be a little bit squirmy straight out of the tyre blankets, it's going to give Justas an incentive to get even closer through these first corners, while Campbell lacks a little bit of confidence. But I think I'm right in saying he's just about held on as the QVR man, and he has a lap fresher tyres, which is great for him. And Kazizel further back is really close with these guys now, less than a second between our net top 3. And look how close Zander is. Well, Zander's within DRS of Kazizel. So this, what was a three-way, has turned into a bit of a four-way here.
Hey, don't tease me with a good time. We've got a good little scrap now forming in the middle. I thought Tom Robbo was probably going to be the next one to look at to see if he could possibly bring the fight to these guys later on. But like you said, Dylan, probably not the start he'd have hoped for, but he's recovered it a bit more with that pit stop. And we'll find out whether this is a genius strategy or not. We've seen him have really good results at Spain before. It's just a case really whether his internet's going to send him to a different lobby or not. As we saw in Singapore, it was heartbreaking, but I believe he ended up getting that position.
He did. P3 was reinstated. I dare say if he disconnected a lap earlier, he might not have been so lucky. We've got the two Williams trading places, Vapor and Mel, who of course had that awful first lap, is ahead of his teammate Gravity, but these are at the back of the guys who are yet to pit. But Campbell et al. Are about to close into these guys, and with them being on the mediums, they might be staying out for even 5, 6, 7 laps more yet. So there could be some traffic that really disrupts the leaders' flow as they move towards these guys. It was 2.4 at the start of this lap. It's now down to 1.9. That is the overspeed that Campbell has. 1.8 now on these guys. So there's a real potential here that some of these back markers who haven't pitted yet, who are going a little bit longer on the mediums, are going to disrupt things for our net leaders, who are now in very close company. Half a second Campbell to Justas, half a second to Gazil, half a second to Xander. So all very even Stevens then. You have to say Xander, once he got past Lewis, he's looked really racy, really quick. He's reeled in these guys like a rocket, and I wouldn't put it past him to win this race. Of course, penalties could very much come into play. But I certainly, even though he's in fourth right now, I would not write him off, as we've got a couple more drivers into the pits. That's Sossi and Khalifa.
Yeah, Xander, like you said, has proved instantly here that he can just keep up with these guys. They're not going to drive away. It's not going to be the 3-horse race that we thought it would be. And maybe that's why the softs stayed out for a bit longer. Maybe they saw the traffic that they might come into and thought, I don't want a piece of that. Because we've got AFCB Arthur that stayed out on the softs, and they can't be feeling too good right now, and I'm not sure what the play is going to be. Maybe he's hoping to put softs on again, possibly?
I'm not sure. I mean, we know, don't we, that the front left tyre here takes an absolute pounding. So many high-load right-handers, turn 3, turn 4, turn 9, turn 12 as well. So it takes real punishment. Overheating is a real issue, much more on soft than it is on the medium. So he won't just be suffering from wear, he'll be suffering from really skyrocketing temps. And that's going to be problematic for him. And here is what I was talking about. Campbell now 2 tenths per second behind Kelvin. And Kelvin's got DRS as well, so that's going to slow Campbell's progress a little bit. He's going to have to put some brave moves on here, but that is played perfectly to QVR Campbell. Look at that. He's got ahead of Kelvin into the twisty final sector. No overtaking opportunities there for Justas. Justas is going to have to sit in behind the AlphaTauri of Olympio and wait until the DRS straight. And even then, he's going to be in DRS is Kelvin on the back of Campbell. So that's played beautifully into Kelvin's hands. And finally, as you prophesied, Jack, Arthur is into the pits now, and Campbell's making another move on Gravity, and he's through. And look at this, is Kazizel going to try a double move here? He's got the slipstream on Justas. I think he's going to have to settle to taking Kelvin, and that's going to cut Xander off for a little bit longer as well. So these backmarkers are chopping these leaders races up just a little bit, because Campbell is now scampered away from Justas, but Kazizel is sticking with the McLaren nicely.
Yeah, I think we're going to look at this moment in the race. It's quite important. Campbell putting that car between him and Justas. Campbell, obviously, as we know at the moment, is in a provisional P1. So putting that car between, giving him chance to maybe break DRS. He seems to be faster, didn't he? Before the DRS came in, that sort of dragged people back into play. So Lewis probably has a lap or so to really start to break the gap. But look at the gap already. You've seen how much time Justas is losing behind Gravity, and it won't be surprised if he sends it here, because he's going to have to get past him soon.
Yeah, there goes Justas up the inside of turn 10, but he goes a little bit deep, and that lets Gravity through. Can Justas afford to let this place go until the DRS straight? He bumps his way through. Robbo's into the pits. Early stop from the mediums for him, but that was a bit of a cheeky bump past Justas. Nearly threw that away, and then somehow just held on to make it work. But Gravity is close enough, is he, that he's going to get DRS back? No, look at how awful that traction was for Gravity off the chicane. No chance of a move back there. Campbell now passes... that noisy passes ML back into the podium places. The pit stops were skewering my view there. And further back we've got Xander is going at it on Kazizel for a net P3. Kazizel just about holds on the exit of 2 there, but just shows you these back markers, they really make the leaders vulnerable to each other. And Tom Robbo, where has he come out? He's come out ahead of Lewis. So Tom Robbo has overcut Lewis. Great from him. And Dylan and Lewis are now going side by side into turn 4. Dylan, this move was sort of foreshadowed a little bit the last few laps, and Lewis is going to hang on. He's going to run him out right up to the curb. I'm not going to pass judgment there, but they're going to go side by side into 7. Banging wheel tyre faces there. Lewis comes out just on top, and he's going to get DRS from Tom Robbo. Dylan will be seething in that AlphaTauri, no doubt. Tom Robbo has a penalty. First of our leaders to pick one up.
Yeah, I think Dylan pretty much had the move stick there. He probably weren't expecting Lewis to come back. He probably thought, right, job done, let's catch Tom Robbo. And I just see this blue Alpine come flying down the inside. I think reduced damage might be a saving grace for Dylan there, because I would assume end plate damage would happen before, but who's that dropping in? Someone just pitted. That's Raleigh pitting, so most of the front people have pitted now. We've got Will G who stayed out, but obviously he's going to have to pit at some point soon. Most of the drivers now are going to have one stop left, and Lewis, since breaking that DRS gap and putting a car between Justas, has managed to keep that gap, which is going to be very important. He's got a lot fresher tyres as well, and we might just start to see if Kazizel can catch up to Justas. A little bit of a comfort blanket for QVR, and probably a much needed win in the standings.
Just to clarify for anyone who doesn't know, QVR Campbell's name is Lewis, just so you don't think we're talking about Lewis in P8. He's hanging out of that DRS, but I wonder if Justas is using a little bit more. He's got 10% less. He's just using a little bit more here to try and get back in. Gap at 1.1, and then again Kazizel back to Kazizel is 1.1 back from Justas. So that's made him very vulnerable to Zander. Half a second back, Zander could get this move done down the pit straight. So we've got a couple of battles here. We've got a battle for the lead between Campbell, Justas, Kazizel, and Zander, and then we've got a battle for P5 between Robbo, Lewis, and Dylan. So we've got a couple of tasty-looking battles right now, although that traffic really has splintered the leaders. Fastest lap for Justas, though, so tantalisingly on the cusp of DRS. But here comes Zander, passes Kazizel. Kazizel slips out of that net podium place. And we've got Tom Robbo passing Kelvin there. That's just about Mark Kelvin yet to pit, of course. But yeah, so Zander's through one of them. Can he get a couple more now? Can he get onto Justas? Can he get onto Campbell? Is there a win on the cards here for the VSR driver, do you think?
I won't put it out of the cards. Anything can happen, obviously, and we still have another round of stops to go. I will say, I think second is definitely on the cards, because that push that you just said, how close he was, Justas, to getting into the DRS of QVR Campbell. I looked at his ERS afterwards. He had 3% left, so clearly he had a huge push lap to try catch up and get in that DRS range, and it didn't work out. So now Campbell's going to kind of control the pace. Justas is going to have to build up some ERS again, and this could give Zander a chance to possibly strike, because he's just as close to getting in at the moment as is Kazizel. And then after that, there's kind of a break to Tom Robbo, who also has a penalty, so I don't think they have to worry too much about cars behind, as the front runner finally pits, and it's only Kelvin who's left to pit. I'd assume he's going to come in soon. So at least the drivers now can kind of get a view of what the situation is, how far people are away, and kind of start to think about the next pit stop.
Yeah, I think the next pit stop will be very much in everyone's minds, but there you go, Zander, fastest lap of the race, very briefly before Tom Robbo came and stole it off him, but he's got pace, very much so. He's in DRS now, Justas, who's actually fallen back by about 3/10 on that last lap to Campbell. But we're going to go further back. We're going to have a look at where the real battle is on track. It's Tim Ventic versus Gravity for P15. These guys very much in DRS range on each other. Gravity coming very close to snatching that position last lap, and he's going to have a run as he into turn 1. He's not using his ERS, so clearly wanting to savour this fight for the rest of the race, because they're very far adrift. Let's have a look, though, while we've got a brief little interlude, what the chat is saying. Abyss F1 says, yes, baby, hi, baby. Hi to you too. Thank you for the love in the chat. She says, or he says, I love Tommy Robbie. Don't we all? Fastest lap of the race for him on the last lap. Lewis with a penalty in the P6. Happus Kmark says, Tom Robbo is quite naughty word, to be honest. And, well, with the fastest lap, he's just pulled the wool over your eyes there, mate. Kmark has clicked. Tom Robbo has got some real pace under that Mercedes. 3.3 seconds off Kazizel, but he is storming away from Lewis back in P6. And look at this, Xander now 0.6 of a second behind Justas. Justas has fallen another couple of tenths that lap. This race is really coming towards Xander in the Alpine for P2 here. And if he plays his cards right, he could get an early undercut. Maybe even, as the two Ferrari straight places going for 9th and 10th. That's Will G, who's just come out of the pits. Very fresh tyre to him. Passes Sossi, who's one of our few drivers, with a penalty. But yeah, there's a chance for Xander. If he plays his cards right here, if he gets past Justas, be 1.6 off Campbell. There's every chance he could come in early and put himself right in DRS range after Campbell pits the following lap.
Yeah, I think Campbell's going to be in that situation now where he probably needs an extra second and a half to be able to see it out and react to the driver behind. He may be hoping that Justas makes the overtake pretty difficult for Xander if he does go for it, because hopefully then he can pull the gap he needs to afford to stay out for an extra lap. But like you said, Xander at the moment is looking the stronger out of him and Justas. I think on pace-wise, Cazizzel's just sitting there. I'm not sure whether... We've not really seen his pace. I'm not sure if he's just sitting waiting, because he has got similar ERS, so he's not pushing too much. Tom Robbo is creeping up, isn't he? He's got the penalty, which we can't forget, and he's got fresher tyres, but he's creeping up on these guys. And we can't write out the question. There's still laps for the front four to get a penalty, as people are starting to seep them through now.
Yeah, I think Cazizzel, you mentioned his pace. I think he's just lurking for DRS. I don't think he has quite the pace the guys ahead of him. We saw that when Xander was able to cut through. But now we're in a bit of a holding pattern. Although Justas is coming back towards Campbell now. The gap had risen to 1.6. It's dropped back to 1.3. Xander can't seem to really make too much of an impression on Justas at the moment. Although Justas's ERS might have something to say about that, because it is looking very thin right now. Xander has about twice as much on 32%. Let's have a look at Cazizzel, about the same 30% right now. Campbell's on 5% before heading into breaking zone of turn 10. So if Campbell does slip into DRS range, he's going to struggle to keep these guys behind him if they keep any airs in hand to fight him with. And DRS gives an opportunity to save nicely. Let's check back in with the chat. ISR Joel says, Tom Robbie stinks, I'm clear. I wouldn't know, I don't know who you are, mate. Carmentalist says, hi Jake, your favourite commentary partner here. I'm sorry, that's old school 3000. Nathan says, can we play Hangman? Really enjoying the race. Love to see that attitude, Nathan. I'm sorry, we're doing a very professional job here. J. Cole says, I'm here too. I can't remember who he is either.
Up a penalty.
Penalty for Cazizzel. Drama at the front of this race that absolutely nothing was happening in.
Justas has broken into DRS slightly. He's on the brink of it, so Campbell's trying his best to hold him. I think every time Justas uses, Campbell's responding and using again as just dipping under into the minus single figures of ERS, and that sentence made perfect sense. So Justas now, he's got that flashing light. Xander can see it behind. He can't hide how low his ERS on. He's going to do about just as good of hiding that as you are from that burp mid-sentence about 2 minutes ago, which I picked up on. So these guys, they're going to be going into a little scrap. I think soon this pit stop's going to be very interesting, because you were talking about the undercut. I'd assume it's going to be pretty strong here, but we also know the softs don't last that long. So could we see, which seemed to be the better strategy at Austria, possibly a soft medium?
Kelvin's on hards. I've just spotted that. Why on earth is he doing that? You're absolutely right.
He waited out as well. Does he know that you have to pit twice?
Perhaps he does. But we've got a great battle here between Kelvin Gravity and Tim Ventic. So for now, we should savour that while the rest of the field is very spread. Campbell, though, has slipped into DRS range, so we'll keep an eye on that next time around. Chat's very active right now. It shows how interesting the race is that people are spending more time in the chat. But let's.
Oh, this gives me Brazil vibes, you know.
Oh, well, let's have a look. We've got Kelvin weaving away down the pit straight to keep Gravity behind him. Let's have a look. We're barreling towards turn 195 miles, 196 topping out there. Nothing happening under braking. Tim Ventic has to sit back. I think Kelvin's running low wings, but his hards will mean he'll be turning like a boat through some of these corners. But look at the understeer there for Gravity, wandering right across turn 4. Carmentalist said, my choice of Ulsterwall's favourite commentator was homophobia. It's not homophobia, you're just not a very good commentator, mate. Let's have a look. J. Cole said,
There's
choose your
literally
words
nothing really happening,
wisely, Mr. Killer Blue.
Well, no, we still got that little scrap that you were talking about at the back.
No. We're going to go back to the lead of the race because we've got Justas with DRS, and Campbell's red light is flashing away towards turn 1. Look how much he's gaining.
Oh,
Not close enough on this occasion, so would say David Croft. Dylan's into the pits, first man for his second stop. But the battle for lead spicing up nicely. Everybody, let's have a look at the gap to leader. 1.4 seconds covers our top 4. Campbell, Justas, Zander, Kazizel, Kazizzel's just having a bit of a quiet one considering where he is in the state of things. But of course, it's much more valuable to finish 4th than it is to try and go for 2nd or 1st and crash out. So better to just play your cards close to your chest and hope for the best.
Always had a brain freeze.
No, I'm just reading the chat again because, it peters out. The race peters out for 2/3 of the lap till we get to the pit straight. Then we have a moment, and then we go back to the chat to see what people are saying. Old School says, I know how to keep the viewers. Nathan said, chicken nuggies. Nathan, you're not 5 years old. Grow up. Right.
I mean, mentally, we're going to argue that one another day. But
not too long ago, his Discord profile picture was Baby Yoda, and he was saying chicken nuggies. It's not 2019, mate. Get with the times. But Justas, here we go. Close again. 6 tenths per second, 5 tenths per second, 4 tenths per second. He's too far back on this occasion. He's too far back on this occasion, Martin, to send it into turn 1. Lewis is into the pits, covering. It's just David Croft. He says he's a bit too far back on this occasion.
It's been caught too square.
Yeah. So Campbell he's got fresher tyres, hasn't he? Than Justas Brown, just by 1 lap. Or you should really say at this point, 2-6 Ted down to the pit lane. Some team radio is about to pop in, but sadly we don't get team radio. I'd love to hear the party chats,
so good.
I'd love to hear what the Jeffs are saying right now because there is literally nothing to say.
I want to hear, right? I want to hear whoever the steward is, right? Have a head steward, and you can contact them. The Jeffs can contact them and argue with them. I want to hear a Toto moment, crying down the straight. That'd be so good.
It would be wonderful. I wish the games had a bespoke race director function. And you could
chat.
Yeah, you could put people into game chat. And
Zander had no choice of his own. I don't think he was planning on coming in. He lost it coming out of the last corner.
And a 5-second penalty.
Oh, it's just taking 2 hits. I don't think he wanted to pit there. He lost the back end. It kind of sent him into the pit lane. So he's just lost a lot of time. Got 5 seconds as well. And as you were saying, he looked quite confident.
Justas and Campbell side by side through turn 3. We've got a Williams just watching in the background. He wanted to get in on the action, so he decided to spin round and have a look at the battle for the lead. We've got Justas now ahead of Campbell into turn 5. Is Campbell going to find it back? No, he's not. We've got the little run down to turn 6, but Campbell has less ERS to use than Justas. He's going to have to sit behind on this one, and his only option now is to hope Justas stays out a lap and come into the pits promptly and try and undercut. But I think Justas has just about caught Campbell napping, and he's got the lead of this race back because that straight is not long enough for Campbell to send it into turn 10. Unless Justas had a moment on the exit of 9, and he absolutely did not. Nicely done for the McLaren driver. He's into the lead. We've got some excitement, and Nathan says Zander washed. And I think that's a bit rich from the amount of bottles that man has made in league racing down his all 2 years of experience. Let's have a look.
And he's in there. Lewis is staying out.
Lewis is staying out. That's a bizarre one. Why is Campbell doing that?
Maybe he should have spent less time playing foot champs on a Friday night and focusing on his strategy because he's thrown this one away.
Well, we'll see. Actually, I'll tell you why he stayed out. Because look at this. We've got Zander, we've got Kazizel, and they're tucked up behind Arthur and Khalifa for the moment. That's going to cost them some time. Let's have a look at the gap to leader. Let's pop that up. Gap to leader, 19.8. for Zander, and where is Justas coming out in all this? He's going to come out just ahead of these guys. He's going to come out side by side with Khalifa, actually. Dear. Is he going to sneak through? I think he is, he's just about done it, and that is going to be agonising for Zander, who can see this happening in front of him. He had to get off the throttle there through turn 3 as Arthur got offline in Khalifa's dirty end. Zander's going to send it. Penalty for Dylan, and Zander just has no cares left to give, and Kazizel's going to sneak through, and he goes right down the outside. takes the higher line, side by side. He'll get a straighter line on exit, and it's a straight drag race now down towards turn 7. Who's going to be braver on the brakes here?
Oh no.
Oh no!
Oh no!
That is a miracle that Xander was not turned around there. And Arthur snuck through for good measure. Sky F1 commentary bingo continues live on the 24-hour of F1 stream. And Arthur's going to send this on Casizzle. What are you doing, man? He spun well. That was absolute maniac. ASC Arthur, ATRD, sort your drivers out. What on earth was that? Or whoever Arthur drives for. Not too sure. Whoever that was, sort yourselves out.
Three of the best.
Campbell, and that completes a wonderful hat-trick. Campbell's in for soft tyres, 10 laps to go.
It's interesting that he went for the softs. Justas went for the mediums. So those softs are going to be faster to start, much faster to start with. But I've raced on sound lap old softs on this track, and they do not feel nice whatsoever.
They're better at the end of the race, though.
With a two-stop, you can lower the pressures down a little bit more than you would do. So maybe he's hoping to get rid of the... Well, you'd probably max them out if you wanted them to last, but the tyre heat, hopefully, you should get a bit less of.
Yes, whatever you just said, yes. Sorry, I was drinking some Pepsi and avoiding the urge to burp again, as you called me out on earlier.
Mid-sentence, very unprofessional, but whilst we wait for a little bit of action, I'm just going to ask you... No, I'm not dropping you in it or anything, but what's your favourite moment so far from the 24-hour event?
I have to tell you, it's been an absolute blur because I was playing the Call of Duty Vanguard campaign, so I could not tell you. My favourite moment was when I finished 7th at Jeddah, and then Gary crashed out from 2 races in a row to make me look very good indeed. So, Campbell, half a second behind Justas. Here we go. Justas weaving away. It's like Verstappen down the straight at Abu Dhabi. Fastest laps galore popping in there. 17.3 for Casizzle. But look at this. Oh, and now look how the turntables with the ERS. Justas down to 15%. Campbell sitting pretty on 45 or so as they come to turn 1. Where's Khalifa going to come out the pits in the background? Very far down. So it looks like we've got a really close battle here actually between Raleigh, Dillon and Lewis. Dillon sneaking through on Raleigh to turn 1 up into 9th place. He's had a bit of a not so much of a muchness race, has Dillon. And just to illustrate that, he nearly goes walking over the exit of turn 3. A lot of penalties popping in, more than I thought we would see. But let's go back ahead. Campbell, 3/10 to Justas. Turn 9 coming up now. Let's see. Campbell flicks it in, doesn't really commit too much, loses a bit of time. But he'll be aiming for the pit straight here.
Oh dear. You can see just how much later you can brake with those softs. He just went flying. And Justas had a little bit of a shaky moment then. And those softs now, they're going to be feeling pretty good, you'd imagine. The mediums, he's got 1 lap old medium. So is there a crossover within these 10 laps where the mediums start to be faster? Because you were saying how the softs start to get faster towards the end again.
Well, they go off less, I should say, is what I mean. If you do them, if you use them at the end of the race than the start of the race. But here we go. Here comes QVR Campbell down the inside. Textbook overtake. I hyped that up more than it was worth. Yeah, he just parks the car on the exit. I just wanted to do it. Here comes Sebastian Vettel moment. I wanted my minute of fame. I did it in F2 race, and funnily enough at Spa, and it was also QVR Campbell. So the man, me and him, just go together nicely. But yeah, K-Mark says this race is...
just had it down at the back. ERT Khalifa has just got past Gravity, found themselves in 12th place, fresh softs. They're going to be burning through the field, them and Nikos Sossi.
I mean, Khalifa wouldn't tell you, but it's probably named himself after Mia Khalifa. Yeah, the only
Wiz
Mia.
Khalifa. Very, very good rapper.
Mia Khalifa, mate. Right, so the question now is, can Justas stay with Campbell? With the we're getting a lot of loves in the comments here. Someone says can we have our own TV show? And that is dangerous because then we'd have to show our faces. Radio, I'm much more down for. Let's have the Jack and Jake podcast.
Penalty. I'd love to do the podcast.
Well, yeah. So next season, League of Europe, Larkin, if you're watching, get us in that prime time live 7:00 Friday night. Weekend preview with Killer 295 and Ariel Nolan. You know where to find us. You know where our DMs are. So, Justas had a look. I had a bit of a moment there through turn 2.
He's starting to feel a little bit you know, a little bit shaky, a little bit oi oi. You know what I mean? So he's struggling.
Yeah. I do know what you mean.
No, he is struggling. Them softs are looking pretty good. Camel's going to be hoping to possibly break that DRS range. The more Khalifa and Rally, they're really going at it at the bottom. They're switching. That's because Rally's pitted. I'm chatting absolute nonsense. So,
well,
look at the penalty field. The top three. Look how many people have a penalty in the middle. And
well,
I'm going to bring your attention.
Let's have a look at those.
No bias reason. Can we just talk about how much of a terrible, underwhelming performance this has been from XL Dylan?
You know, I pride myself in my impartiality. I'm like the BBC. I'm impartial, and then both sides complain about me. Well, you know, I did a lesson the other day at school, at work. I did a quiz. Both sides said I was biased, so I must have done my job perfectly. It's the same in league racing commentary.
What's he doing? He's throwing it away.
You made me cut away from XL Dylan there for no reason whatsoever. Lewis had a very shaky. Oh no, Lewis messed up that chicane. He got it. He got his wheels in an absolute twist. Dylan got so hyped at him getting his wheels in a twist that he thought, you know what, I'll do the same thing and get a penalty to even the tables. 6. So,
seconds.
Yeah, everyone's on 3, apart from Dylan on 6, Xander, who has that 5 seconds for speeding, and then Ventic and Gravity at the back, who also on 6. They'll have to get on the brakes there in the middle of turn 3. Well, we've got 6 laps to go, and I have to say, it's been a pleasure, Jack. I'm sad we're not doing more races together, because it's been...
Sorry, J. Cole doesn't trust me, though. I put myself down, you know, saying I'm available for every race, and I've got you and J. Cole, where he's going to babysit me. I'll see how much I can get away with later on when I commentate with J. Cole. Hopefully by then it'll be late, he'll be a bit tired, I'll be a lot drunker than this, and it'll be a great time. And hopefully the race is a bit more exciting at the front.
Well, I said we should have a podcast, Larkin if he's watching, and he politely stopped not watching to pop in the chat and say he's not watching, so thank you for that. And he said his Nolan agenda will stop that from happening. It is unquestionable. Everyone has a Nolan agenda, don't they? No one seems to like you. Not even me.
Yeah.
I
don't know why.
I deeply resent you and every aspect of your being, and I'm pained by it.
As did my parents, which explains why I've become the way I have become. I
was meant to commentate this race with Elon Musk's second child, X427. And Lewis passes Dylan into turn 1. Yeah, I'm going to repeat.
Dylan passed Lewis, mate.
That's what I meant. Dylan passes Lewis into turn 1. I was meant to commentate this race at 4:27, then for some reason it got changed because you complained to J. Cole about only having one race to commentate.
No, I didn't complain, I just voiced my opinion.
You just pointed out a matter of fact. But anyway, yeah, I was very sad that got changed. I was looking forward to commentating with X427. But there we go. Let's have a look at these intervals. We've got Dylan and Lewis, close battle on track. We've got our top 3, sort of neutralised a little bit by Kazizl having a 3-second penalty. So really it's a battle between our top 2 with 5 laps to go. And at the back we've got Kelvin versus Gravity. Other than that, everyone is spread out. You can look at the track map on your right hand side and see for yourself that absolutely nothing is happening right now.
I tell you what we need in this race to really spice it up. With your in second, we need a lapped ghosted Nathan to appear just in front of Lewis. That really spice things up.
No. What you need is Justas to get ahead of Campbell, not Lewis. Lewis is in P8, everybody.
No,
Campbell is leading.
Talk about actual Lewis. I think Lewis is on a charge. Campbell's going to drop.
Oh, and he's passed Dylan again.
See, I told you.
On a charge, yeah. So, Nathan, pop in the lobby, get in front of Justas, tow your teammate along, return the favour for Liga here at Portugal. But, well, actually, Campbell's doing a sterling job here. He's got no ERS whatsoever, and Justas has some, but somehow Campbell's got enough through the corners. He's got a nice bit of point.
Just got banned from the chat.
Carmentalist banned from the chat, and he says he's lost all brain cells. If I had a brain cell for every time Carmentalist said I've lost all my brain cells, I would have a full brain.
What? No, that one. You're a teacher. You can do better than that.
No, that makes sense. He says
it makes sense, but it was rubbish.
You're rubbish at F1, so.
I'm actually next season's D2 champion, so.
I'm sorry, I missed the
if my
part where we were
friends
living in a
stop taking away my
parallel
podiums,
timeline.
then we'll be alright. But
If
my
I see an
friends don't,
opportunity
so.
for a podium, I am reporting it and I'm getting it. But anyway,
Right,
I
front
don't know.
three laps left.
I don't know why I
6
keep
tenths
saying.
ahead.
But anyway, nothing's happening. I keep trying to.
Oh, it
Dylan and
is.
Lewis again into turn one. Look at this gripping action. This DRS overtake, follow for a lap, DRS overtake. You can't beat this kind of racing. It's racing at its purest and most distilled, with nothing artificial about it whatsoever. Dylan up into 7th place, meaningless battle because he has an extra penalty. But yeah, I've run out of words to say yet
You're a
again.
bit rubbish at this, aren't you?
I know. I don't even know why I volunteered to be a commentator.
Right, look, we've got 3 laps left, right? Justas is 8 tenths behind. Surely the mediums are going to start to take over. These softs have got to be difficult within the next couple of laps. It could get a bit spicy. I've seen that red flashing light on Lewis. He's using again a little red flashing light. He's showing a little bit of vulnerability. And I'm going to cut to the more important thing, because at the end of the day, the results of this race, they matter, but they don't. What does matter is that we've just reached £1,000 for both charities in the stream, which is, I don't know if I can swear, but it's amazing.
It's bloody good. I was ready to say that, and then you said it, so... But yes, huge shout out to everyone who donated. Thank you so much. Please keep donating throughout the night, throughout the event, and tomorrow morning. Dylan gets passed by Lewis again into turn one. I'm not even going to bother with that now. It's so predictable. But yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and donating. We've got... How many viewers do we have right now? We've got 119. Thank you to all of you. Thank you to those who have been watching and will be watching. And thank you for donating. It's the most important thing, much more important than our silly, goofy shenanigans in the combox. We've got 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Justas half a second behind Campbell, 6 tenths. Can he stick with him enough through this last sector that he's got a chance when that DRS opens? He needs to be around 5-6 tenths behind start the straight. Just loses a little bit through the dirty area, 7 tenths per second coming onto the straight. Is he going to use now? He is using this. So this is the lap Justas is going for it. And he's going to use all of his airs he's got built up down the straight. Here we go. Look at the gate he's getting. Campbell goes right. He goes left. He goes right again. Justas is going to send this round the outside. Is he? Campbell can't fight back. Nicely done from the RAL driver. Sensationally into the lead. He played that brilliantly. But Campbell now, he's left... Justas has left a lap for Campbell to get him back. Can Campbell stay enough? He's on 3% ERS, so we'll see. But is there enough of no soft tyres for Campbell that he can get this back down the main straight? He doesn't have any ERS. A big moment for Justas there. Snap of oversteer on the exit turn 5. Bit of wheel spin. And he's just got to hold on now for one more lap. But he's got to keep Campbell as far back at least as he was from Campbell at the start of the last lap. Because, of course, Campbell is using his ERS. So he's of no mind to try and save it up down the straight. So we'll see how close can Campbell stay through this last sector.
Well, we've seen the toes quite... I don't know. We're going to find out now if it's because of Lewis's setup, if he's running higher wings or lower, because the toe that Justas got was really strong down that straight. So we're going to come on to the last lap. You'd think right now, if his exit's good, Lewis might be in the drive. Campbell might be in the driving seat to win this race. He's going to get toe, DRS, both ERS is on as well. Let's see how fast he catches Justas. He's catching him fast enough. Not as fast as Justas was catching him though, so clearly a change in setups. He's going to have to send it. Oh, he squeezed off track. I don't know. Oh, that's a little... I prefer not to speak. Fair. It's hard racing. It's just hard racing.
Oh, and Kazizel, what are you doing, man? Kazizel, what on earth was that? You've got a 3-second penalty. Dumbest overtake attempt I've ever seen. And he tried it again in turn 5. But I'm going to call it like it is. That was stupid from Kazizel.
That's just ruined it for the viewers. We're going to have a little scrap at the end there.
Justas, I don't want to call that necessarily in real time. You only see it once. It's hard to see. We'll see what the stewards think of it if it gets reported. My gut instinct is that it was just about in bounds from Justas. Just about above board and in play. But we'll see if it gets reported indeed. It's not necessarily been the most thrilling race, but up front we've seen it close all the way through, and it's going to be Justas who's going to come through, and he's going to take victory at round 9 of 24 hour. It's going to be a relentless win from QVR, a victory for Justas. They take the full points because Campbell second, Cazizl third, Xander crashes across the line fourth, Tom Robbo fifth. I thought he promised much more of that qualifying performance, but in the end was quite a way down, 12 seconds off the lead. Will G is sixth after staying out for so long in that first stint. Dylan is going to be seventh, but he's not going to stay there on penalties. Lewis is going to get him on the line. Saucy is going to be ninth on track. Khalifa 10th. Noisy's coming around the last one now. He's going to be a P11. Raleigh down in 12th, and then it's Ventic. Kelvin grabbed Knighton and Mason, then Arthur and Amel, who failed to finish those last two. Very, very strung out race. From the first couple of laps, it already seemed like it was settling down into a bit of a holding pattern. We saw various configurations at the top. Campbell led that race for so long. He nearly got it back. Justas defended hard. I think just about fairly to turn one. We'll see what the stewards make of it. Campbell forced off track there. Cazizl third. Xander for so long looked like he could have been in the chance to win that race. Ended up fourth. In the end, it was a real tactical battle between the front three, and in the end, I think at least for the win, it was a good race, and we didn't see too much dirty driving as well, which we do love to see. Apart from that move on Cazizl on the last lap, which as I will not hold back on, and I'll say it's absolute idiocy. But there we go. Justas, the Lithuanian, wins in Spain.
Yeah, it was a race of different chapters. It kind of died down a bit. We'd get a few laps back and forth, but I think it would have been nice without that Cazizl interruption to see if Campbell had it in the tank to possibly get him in that last DRS zone, because they were very close. But unfortunately, that was taken away from us. Both drivers, you could say, earned it. Both deserved the win. But overall, it came to life at parts, which is what matters the most. As the most important thing from this is that XL Dillon came 8th and lost his battle.
And the most important thing is that Justas loses the win in the stewards' room. I'm just playing the other side. I don't actually believe that. Justas wins from third on the grid in a race time of 43 minutes and 56 seconds, under 3/4 of an hour. Campbell is second, Cazizl third, Xander fourth, Tom Robbo fifth, Will G sixth from 19th on the grid. Shout out to him. Lewis 7th, Dylan 8th, Saucy is 9th, Khalifa is 10th, Noisy 11th, Raleigh 12th, Ventic is 13th, Kelvin is 14th, Gravity is 15th, Speed Knighton 16th, Mason 17th, Arthur 18th, ML 19th, a bit of a shambolic race for him, and Gareth Hall, of course, never ended up joining us for the race. So, everybody, do stick around, because what have we got next? We've got Mexico is next.
No.
With my good self. Are you driving Mexico, Noel?
No, unfortunately, Relentless Ryan will be driving for us, so
well,
we'll be losing about 20 points in steward reports, I could imagine.
We look forward to that with bated breath. But yes, Mexico next. Do tune in with myself and Jess Gamer 95. And then
if you guys donate £50, I will release the full uncut video of Relentless Ryan's audio throughout this whole race.
Well, there you go, guys. That's all the incentive you need to commentate. Not commentate. It's all the incentive you need to donate, and please do keep donating. As Nolan said during that race, we hit £1,000 for both charities. So fabulous work. Please keep it up. Please keep the money coming in. I'll be making my donation very soon, at some point, no doubt. But thank you for tuning in. And as I said, tune in a few minutes for round 10 of our 24-hour marathon of F1 2021 at Mexico.